Guys, as if you couldn't add to the feminine loserdom of this guy who pretends to be a debater and couldn't accept that economic performance is a sign of masculine performance, has now blocked me. So to just recap, we went in order of making incoherent claim, failing to debate, getting triggered I've met billionaires, asking daughter to perform for me instead of debate, and then blocking me. Bro, this guy is a joke. He can only debate OnlyFans girls, and that's because he's a second-rate intellect. I own his audience forever. Okay, guys, so you know that tradcon that got absolutely eviscerated and humiliated on stage with Fresh and Fit, where that guy basically said, you're fat, you're poorer than you should be, and then he made excuses as to why he isn't who he could be. This morning, so I've been putting my videos underneath his tweets, basically calling him out, saying, you know, you are demonizing men becoming extremely successful economically, and you're demonizing men creating lots of economic value to take care of your family, and all of this is rooted in a feminine resentment that you have for your own inadequacy. He finally responded, but he responded in a way that was so bizarre and surprising that, well, let's just say it took me by surprise. Rather than admitting that he messed up, and he knows he messed up. Ever since that video came out, people have been making fun of him. But instead of admitting that he was wrong, like a true debater would, or even arguing the point, he asks what is clearly his underage daughter to record a video for me, justifying why, to try to justify why success is playing video games with your children. Reference a clip where he said the definition of success is playing video games with your kids, when he was asked on that panel, how do men achieve success? And, you know, all the men, echelons above him, you know, the ones that are worth tens of millions of dollars, the ones that make millions of dollars a month, the ones that have massive real estate and crypto portfolios, etc., they all gave answers as to, okay, well, this is how you do this is how I achieved this. This guy said, I read books and I play video games with my kids. So I called him out for that.
By playing video games with my kids. That's the first thing I start off by doing. And then basically the rest of the day I read books. I read more, and then I read more on top of that. And that's, for me, what I've seen inside of the United States.
But you know what's funny is he's not even Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez reads a lot, but Tai Lopez is a winner who has hundreds of millions of dollars and can go wherever he wants. This guy, almost every man will end up having a family. How did this guy get on the panel? Here's the original tweet that got him to reply. So before my tweet, this was his response to getting called out and dragged all across Twitter. Notice how it has less views than my tweet, by the way. He says, I'm an entertainer. I don't give out advice, right? Trying to absolve himself of the responsibility for his terrible answers. I don't sell self-help courses. My job is to push back on the worldviews of lunatics who exist and push destructive carnage like feminists and progressive scumbags. I also like to drink beer and smoke. So I have no problem with the fact that he pushes against feminism. That's good. We obviously know he likes to debate OnlyFans girls, but apparently those are the only people he can debate, because I called him out saying, if you admit you do not give advice, you do not belong on a panel answering questions of how to achieve success with men echelons above you giving real answers. You actually said play video games with your kids. So embarrassing. He couldn't help himself but to reply to this, and rather than engage with the debate, because I wrote out, so to his response, which is right here, this is his response, basically doubling down on playing video games with his kids. And so here is an incredibly well thought through reply, which he never responded to, providing huge resources for a family and to create companies is a worthy goal. Ask your wife if she'd be upset if you made twice as much. If you say performing better economically is not worth it, you are lying to yourself and a coward. If you refuse to value money, say that without pretending men who wish to create money are somehow wrong. Otherwise, you look feminine, weak, jealous, and delusional. Would you say money doesn't matter to Elon Musk's face, knowing he's doing 100,000 times more good for the world than you? Either way, you do not belong on stage. Either way, you do not belong on stage answering questions from men who are looking to become richer, more important versions of themselves. Oh, and the fact that you're poorer and fatter than you could be, accept reality, don't get triggered when a man points it out. Because obviously what started all of this is those viral clips of Wes screaming at him, a man that makes millions of dollars a month, screaming at him that he's fat and overweight. He never replied to this for some reason. Instead what he did is he went to my replies and started replying to replies that I was making to other people. So some of his tradcon fans were commenting negative things. I was replying and correcting them, and all those replies are still up. I never delete anything. And you can see his replies. And he got fixated on something which genuinely surprised me. Here's the tweet. Now, as you can see, I replied to this this Anon account who, if you read their replies, I mean, they're just totally mentally destroyed. When you speak truth, a lot of mentally broken people come out of the woodwork. That's just how it is. But so to this person claiming that having a good family and becoming extremely rich are somehow opposed to each other, I say, I've met multiple billionaires. They're all married with loving families. Denying success is important is feminine cope. So he's lurking in my replies, and he can't help but reply to this one, saying, really? Which ones? Show pics. Not very many billionaires out there. This is really funny. So guys, I'm not trying to brag when I say I've met multiple billionaires. It's just part of my background. I got into a very elite school as a result of my talent playing the violin. I got a scholarship to go there. And it just so happened that that school has a lot of very affluent people. A lot of very affluent people send their kids there. We're talking about celebrities in Los Angeles and rich people, a lot of people in entertainment. Elon Musk sent one of his kids there. I made a video on that. But anyway, so that's how I've met multiple billionaires. I even tutored a billionaire's kids. I won't say anything more than that. I won't talk about like the kid's identity or anything like that because I think they're still at crossroads. And also I don't want any deranged hate coming from, these misshapen, broken people to ever reach them. But to me, I understand it may sound unusual, but it's not bragging. It's just a part of my history in the same way that when I say I've played violin across the entire country, studied with some of the best people, or that I played chess competitively, I'm not bragging. I'm just talking about what my life was like, because that's what my life was like. But this guy doesn't get that. Really? Which ones? Show us pics. Not very many billionaires out there. So I thought he was trolling, and my response is serious, because I like to, whenever somebody starts to troll, I like to be serious to own them so that they can either double down and look more ridiculous or come back to the fold, and at which point they admit that, they were ridiculous. So I reply, at the school I attended, Crossroads, there were quite a few actually. In fact, Elon Musk, who I've met 3 or 4 times, which is true, sent one of his boys there. Who is now a girl, by the way, kind of funny. A lot of celebrities and actors sent their kids there. I tutored billionaire sons in chess, etc., but I'm not bragging about meeting billionaires. To you, meeting a billionaire is a big deal. I'm just referencing my upbringing to make a point. All of them have loving families. Your questions are, once again, feminine. Because this is pretty feminine. His reply again, instead of debating this, instead of ever replying to this, because he knows that he's wrong, he continues to get bent out of shape about this. He just replies, show pictures. This is the guy that is supposedly a master at debate, asking me to show pictures of billionaires that I've met rather than debating the ideas that I put forward here and acknowledging that he was wrong. But of course, he already acknowledged that he made mistakes because he's been getting dragged on Twitter for the last 4 days. So at this point, it's clear that he's losing a lot of credibility. So I say, of what? Private connections I have to appease a feminine failed debater? Because at this point, he's a failed debater. Lol, we really do live in different worlds. Like, what does he expect me to do? He says no evidence. I say Google Crossroads or don't. As feminine and insecure as you are, it might break you. Because it's like, this is public information. If you really want to know, which billionaires send their kids to Crossroads, you can find that out, So instead of debating again, he replies for a 5th time. Guys, this is supposedly a master debater replying for the 5th time, bent out of shape that I've met billionaires. I met my first billionaire when I was 15. It was Elon Musk. At the time, he was worth $12 billion. I got a shirt signed by him because I'm a massive fan of Elon, but it just is what it is. I know it's unusual, but unfortunately, he couldn't cope with this, and I find it incredibly interesting. So obviously, I've taken down, a massive person. His audience belongs to me for eternity because I've shattered him with the simplest set of coherent intellectual frameworks, which he was shockingly not able to cope with. And this was so embarrassing that he was trying to get away without debating, without disagreement, without making sense, without responding to this coherent critique of his worldview, that I reply with this. And I'm proud of this one. I thought of this one on the fly. He's obviously upset that my background is significantly different than his. I say, Google my school or don't. As feminine and insecure as you are, it might break you. If you work hard enough taking Wes's advice, you might be able to afford to send your kids there one day. Because he's claiming money isn't important. But he's also upset that I got to meet billionaires as a result of going to an elite school. Guess what? None of your kids are talented enough to get a scholarship there. You're going to have to pay for it. Oh, but you know what? To pay for it, you're going to have to take West's advice. The guy that you arrogantly denied and attempted to mock, even while he was calling you fat. It takes a rare type of person, especially someone who calls himself a debater, to stand on stage and try to disagree with somebody who is clearly echelons above you economically. The man he tried to attack makes $55,000 on a bad day, has a family, a penthouse, does whatever he wants. And Andrew, this guy tried to attack him. And Andrew tried to attack him. Andrew Wilson tried to attack him, and it went so poorly. I think, honestly, this is a significant blemish on his reputation forever. Obviously, this is going to stay with him for a long time. It's a stain that's not going to come out. Because even if he deletes these tweets, the videos are still out. I've put up 10 different shorts on my YouTube channel of, his worst moments on that stage. You can check those out. Subscribe to my channel. But this video is really the icing on the cake. I never expected that as a result of making that video, he would get bent so far out of shape that this supposed expert in debate would become unfathomably broken or obsessed would be the right word, that I've met multiple billionaires. It doesn't even make sense, but he's clearly not in the best place. So then, after freaking out, after not being able to accept that I went to Crossroads, which you can basically verify. Other people have verified it too, by the way, including some of my haters. They've found out when I went to school, all the dates and everything, because of course they're obsessed with me. But then he asked his daughter to make a video. So after getting humiliated and furious that I have met billionaires, he makes this video, guys. He makes this video. He asks his young underage daughter, "Hey, there's this guy on Twitter who's been repeatedly owning me in my comments, and it's just infuriating me. So let's make a video." Justifying why it's good for me to play video games with you instead of providing for you. Bro, look at this. This is the face of a sad man right here. What is this? Look at this. Oh no. Bro, it's actually sad because I feel bad for his daughter because he's obviously performing here. It's not good. Right? She's looking at her dad like, "Dad, what are you doing? What are you doing here, Dad?" I can tell because when you're a kid you can tell if your parents are being genuine or not. She's like, "Why are you making this, fake smile, this fake laugh? Why are you saying this to me, Dad? Why'd you ask me to say these lines?" So rather than debate, this is what happened. I really couldn't have asked for anything that would result more in a total victory, quite frankly. I wasn't even really expecting a victory on X at all. This guy already was getting, destroyed. This right here, though. Oh, that's going in the thumbnail. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. One or two people already mentioned this in my comments section on X, but the reason why we're having this war, it's more of a slaughter because the red pill guys are just so much more physically impressive. All the young men want to be like them and not like Ben Shapiro or not like this guy. It's more of a slaughter, but there is a conflict going on. And I think the conflict is driven by the fact that these guys are resentful that they can't go back in time and have access to what my generation has access to. I can listen to Warren Buffett explain stocks for free on YouTube. I can listen to Elon Musk explain critical thinking skills for hours at a time. I can listen to Jordan Peterson talk about psychology. I can listen to Andrew Tate talk about kickboxing. You get the idea. The opportunities that I have, not just from my background, which he's clearly disturbed by, but this resentment that these tradcons have for young men choosing a better life, a life that is actually the answer to the degenerate femininity created by their own weakness. One of my viewers actually pointed this out, and I thought that's an extremely intelligent comment, what he said. He said that the reason why feminism has gotten so out of hand is actually because of men like this, who through their weakness and inability to confront problems, as he just demonstrated, he can't confront a debate, even though that's his entire job. They're so emotional, they're so feminine, that they're the reason why feminism has become so radical so quickly. And so ironically, they've created the problems that now the young men are responding to, and the young men are rejecting their narrative, saying, "I'm not going to get married when I'm young. I am going to become more impressive. I am going to increase my status. I am going to become more important and respected and beloved by women and men so that I can have the leverage in a relationship and have the life that I want and really have freedom and have choice." What you're seeing here is the definition of weak men create hard times. And now my generation's responding to the hard times and saying, "Yeah, we don't want to be like you. We don't want to be, making videos when we're 45 to 23-year-olds calling us out in ways so coherent we have no response other than to ask our 6-year-old daughter to perform for them." or reference the video with Wes when he couldn't admit that making money was important and valuable to providing for a family. So yeah, as of now, he still hasn't replied to this. I seriously doubt that he will, even though it's, you know, it's there. It's not only under his profile, but mine as well. With this whole TradCon situation that started with that Brett Cooper video that got a couple thousand views on YouTube, and then the Ben Shapiro video where I said, wait a second, these people are lying about Fresh and Fit, they're lying about Andrew Tate. I couldn't think of a more archetypally fulfilling way to realize what's going on here than the total embodiment of a weak man unable to engage in arguments, and saying that masculine impressiveness is a detriment. The TradCons are falling. They don't have influence anymore, not compared to our side of the internet. And men don't want to be like them. That's really what it is. And just like the leftists, just like the Marxists, their resentment is what drives them. So unfortunately, your typical TradCon, the one that likes to demonize impressive men, whether that be Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, or really anybody that demonstrates how they're fraudulent. Insofar as they are opposed to men becoming better, they are an enemy to young men who want to better their lives. I own this guy's audience now. I've completely bested him. I was not expecting this, but I guess my power just shocks me sometimes. I didn't intend for any of this to happen. I didn't intend for him to get his 6-year-old daughter to perform for me. I didn't intend for him to refuse to debate. I didn't intend for him to break down as he got triggered that I've met multiple billionaires, but there it is.